Roll for Crit here to give you our preview of Sanctuary, the Keepers Era, which is on Kickstarter right now. This game takes place in a fantasy world in which it is the era of the Keepers, and you will be playing as one of those Keepers, each with their own unique deck, champion, as well as sanctuaries. Those sanctuaries are very important because the Keepers want to draw essence from them that powers them, but they want it all for themselves. So your goal in this game is to destroy all of your opponent's sanctuaries before they can do the same to you.
You see here sort of a mid-game setup already in play, but you'll always start off with 4 sanctuaries, a deck, and a champion that will start off to the side over there, but will be put into play on your turn if you choose to cast it. You'll start each turn by gaining essence. That's these little crystals here. You'll always gain 2, except for the first turn you'll gain 1, and they will carry over so you can slowly build up and get a lot if you need to. You can use them to cast either acolytes, which are pretty much your creatures that will be on the field, rituals, which are spells, which will be like one-time effects, then put in your discard pile, or the aforementioned champion, which can be added to the field. Your champion and your acolyte are considered units, which can be placed either in the defensive line, which will guard your sanctuaries, or the offensive row, which is to attack your enemy sanctuaries. Most creatures come into play exhausted, with a few exceptions we'll get to a little later, but if you have any unexhausted characters in your attack row, the next phase is attacking. Pretty much you will attack either their defender, and they will deal damage to each other, or go straight for their sanctuary. Should you deal enough damage to the sanctuary, you will flip it over, and it is no longer in play. Do that to all 4 of their sanctuaries, and that's game. If they have a defender, you'll have to deal with that. You'll pretty much compare your attack to their health, and if you're able to match that value, they are discarded. Afterwards, we've got the cleanup phase, which actually a lot happens in. You're going to activate or unexhaust your exhausted units on the field, as well as add a Splendor to each of your bases that aren't at their cap yet. You'll also get to discard cards from your hand and draw up to your max hand size. It's usually 4, but of course there will be ways to modify that.
Now, we mentioned Splendor, that's those blue cubes down there. There will be different tokens for these, as well as tracks to mark them in the final version of the game, and if you decide to get these nice play mats. Splendor is very important because each of these sanctuaries has its own special ability, and once they have enough Splendor to max out that track, that ability activates. Some of those are passive, they could be things that you have to do at certain times on your turn, but certainly they're going to affect your strategy and really help you get that win. Units also have their own special abilities. You can see there are several icons printed on them. Those stand for their attributes. Those could represent multiple things. Maybe it means that they're unable to be hit by special abilities from your enemy. Maybe it means they can only go in the attacking row. Sometimes they get to activate as soon as they're put into play. Sometimes their abilities are passive. All kinds of different icons that you will want to familiarize yourself with, as well as their own abilities in text that will activate at different times depending on usually what these attribute symbols are. That is essentially the game. You're playing, like we said, until you can take out all those sanctuaries. It's pretty quick playing. The box time says 15 to 30 minutes for 2 players, and I think that's probably roughly accurate depending on how familiar you are with the game. There's also something where if you run through your deck and you start your turn without any cards to draw, you'll be destroying one of your sanctuaries. So there's a little bit of a time limit on it in that sense.
Right, and another small thing, should your champion die, it doesn't go in your discard, it is gone. So use it carefully. I mean, for me, the closest comparison is Commander or EDH from Magic. Same idea, you have sort of your leader who enters the battlefield, but that's a 100-card deck that usually goes much longer. This is a much quicker game for that, and there's not too much text, like there's a couple cards, but really it's these symbols you just have to know, like, all right, this is the thing that's going to hit me hard, or this thing's going to move around, something like that. And there are 6 different decks in the Kickstarter we have here, like this blue one here, my personal favorite, partially because they're just the more draconic one. They like moving around. This one likes exhausting your opponent's stuff, so you can sort of get around them that way. And this one is sort of weird in terms of it deals damage and heals. It's not like direct damage. It's trying to sort of find a way around your opponent's creatures.
Yeah, these guys over here are all about working together so they can make powerful attacks and they boost each other's stats. So having them on the field or in certain positions will help them out a lot. So they all play pretty differently, and they all are pretty differently thematically too. You said you like the dragons. These are, I really like the animal people over here. Yeah. Anthropomorphized lions and pandas and things are a lot of fun. And again, those sanctuaries are all completely different. You have totally unique powers, and those of course really change things.
And of course, that not only their life points, there's also this interesting idea of, should I go for the one that's easier for me to kill, but this is the ability that scares me the most? Because you also turn it off, so to speak, should you get it to flip over. So that's the other thing you have to keep in mind.
Yeah, your positioning on the battlefield is really important. You have to decide, is a unit better suited in the attack line where they want to try to take out one of these sanctuaries, or should they be defending? Because your defenders can't make attacks and your attackers don't defend your sanctuary. So it's really important how you dole those out. Also, the way that you get your essence, your resource that you use to pay for cards. Most of the cards are really, I think the highest cost that I noticed, maybe like 3.
A lot of them are the 0 to 2 range.
Yeah, which is
So
nice.
You will be able to cast it on your turn.
Yeah, so you never feel you're too out of luck, like you're really missing a bunch of resources to pay for things, but also you don't have a feeling of like, I have to wait a long time to build something up. I get to put a lot of little things early on, which again lends itself to being more of a quicker game.
So for me, I thought if you enjoy Commander or EDH in Magic, but you want your game not to last an hour or so, depending on the number of players, this is great. Once again, this is designed to be 2-player, but there is a solo variant that uses these 5 other cards here. So this could be a much lighter game to carry around because it's pretty easy to transport around with you, should you like that sort of game format.
Yeah, take a look at the Kickstarter to see what you think. There are multiple different sets, so you can get just 3 of these packs, or you could get one that comes with all 6 plus these playmats, which in the final versions will have different grids printed on them and things to make it easier to set your game up.
And I'm pretty sure in the box they sent us too, which we have on the shelf, so you'll have a nice big box to carry everything.
Yeah, magnetic seal and everything. Take a look. The link is in that description right down below here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
This was Roll for Crit.
Hey, go ahead, like and subscribe, and support our Patreon for even more board game content.
Support us now to hear the audio expansion, where you can hear all the other nerdy things we've been up to.